Keto. I'm sure if you're somebody that has been keto. I'm sure if you're somebody that has been trying to lose weight, you probably heard about a ketogenic diet. I'm going to share with you the results that I got when I did a ketogenic diet for 6 months. And I don't mean the knockoff Atkins diet, and I don't mean the low carb diet. I mean a true ketogenic diet. Brand new to my YouTube channel, welcome. My name is Coach Joe. I'm an online fitness coach where I help busy guys learn what works best for their body type and their lifestyle, so that way they can create sustainable fat loss habits. So for starters, what is a true ketogenic diet? Because if you're just cutting out your breads, your pastas, your rices, that's not a true ketogenic diet. That's just a low carb or a knockoff version of Atkins diet. A true ketogenic diet is pretty much where 70 to 75% of your daily calories are coming from fats, about 20 to 25% of your daily calories are coming from protein, and then pretty much like less than 5% of your daily calories are coming from carbohydrates. Keto got started way back in the day as a little science experiment that they were actually doing on kids to help them with epilepsy, to prevent any kind of seizures, and it turned out to be very successful. But actually getting into a state of ketosis where your body's running off ketones, it might be a little bit challenging for some people because you start dealing with what's called the keto flu after a couple days of just going on the low carb diets where your body's almost dealing with these withdrawals. Well, let's talk about some pros and let's talk about some cons. That way you can kind of hear my story and then kind of decide for yourself if maybe a ketogenic diet is right for you. I got shredded. I got ripped. Like, I kid you not, I looked like one of those cheese graters. Like, I got, I think, to 6% body fat, the leanest I was ever. But putting that aside, the diet is just not fun at all. And I get it if somebody is like, in a health crisis where, hey, they are being forced and told upon with their doctor and their living will that they have to do a ketogenic diet, then hats off to you, right? But for 98% of the population that's out there, and they're just trying to lose weight, I don't recommend it at all because it's not fun. In fact, even type 2 diabetics, I don't recommend it too. And I can confidently say that because there has been hundreds of type 2 diabetics that have joined our coaching program, and we actually help them lower their A1C levels and reverse their type 2 diabetes. And guess what? They're still eating carbohydrates during that whole entire process, that whole entire transition. We did not put them on a low carb or a ketogenic diet. We educated them. We taught them about the glycemic index. We taught them about spiking their insulin, right? We gave them better habits to do so that way they can make these dramatic improvements to their health, lower their A1C levels, and reverse their type 2 diabetes. So if you're somebody that's watching this right now, and let's say you're struggling with medications, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, you want to get off your medications, my advice for you, click on the link down below, check out our free training guide. There's going to be tons of information in there that can help you out. Now, I'm all about flexibility, and unfortunately, you don't get that when it comes to following a ketogenic diet. I think also, like with nowadays, people love hearing the word keto, right? So they're automatically like suckered into it. But remember what I talked about earlier, right? Keto is just not low carb, it's high fats. So there's so many products that you see in the marketplace now saying this is keto friendly. But when you actually take a look at the macros that's on the back, it's not really like following a true ketogenic diet. So don't get all the, suckered into all the marketing and the shiny object syndrome, right? What I'm really trying to say is if you're somebody that is just trying to lose weight, okay? It's just best to have something more flexible and more sustainable for you. When it comes to actually losing weight, you just need to be in a calorie deficit. And my recommendation is, hey, stick within your calorie budget for fat loss because nobody's going to be perfect. Like if let's say you need to eat 2,000 calories, every single day to lose body fat, like no one's ever going to eat 2,000 calories exactly on the top, So it's just like, give yourself some wiggle room. Maybe, 2,200 calories to 1,800 calories. That's your budget. And I would say just really go off a weekly average. And then from there, just eat plenty of protein. Like legit, just have at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Don't really worry about your carbs. Don't really worry about your fats. Because what I'm about to share with you is one of the biggest cons that happened to me personally when I did a ketogenic diet. And once again, it's not because it wasn't sustainable. It's not because it wasn't, flexible and I had to cut out my favorite foods. And I feel like personally, like when the keto, diet, it's just like you're limited in terms of options. Okay. So putting all that aside, when I did a ketogenic diet, I got one of the worst unhealthy relationships with food. Okay. Now, there's some other cons, right? There's obviously, my workouts suffered tremendously because I wasn't running off glycogen. So I kind of felt that, but actually like having a relationship with food versus having a physical, relationship with energy in my workouts, right? Two separate things. Okay. Like this was something very, very serious because I know a lot of people that struggle with having a relationship with food. I know personally for myself, way back in the day, I grew up in the type of house where it's, hey, you have your good foods, you have your bad foods. But regardless, if something's on your plate, you can't throw that away, right? Or else there's people in third world countries that are starving right now. You're ungrateful if you're throwing away food, right? So I was always taught, hey, eat your food. Don't waste away money. And I was also taught like, hey, good foods versus bad foods. And I broke out of that when I got certified, right, in nutrition. But slowly but slowly, right, doing a ketogenic diet for 6 months, you get a little too strict. And I just remember having the hardest time mentally, the transition between trying to go back to, hey, let's start having some rice, let's start having some bread, let's start having some pasta, eventually the brownies, right, the cookies, the things I enjoy eating, right? It was hard. It really, really was hard because I'll just be very vulnerable for yourself. I got to 6% body fat. I was looking very lean, very ripped. So when I start eating carbohydrates, my body is so used to running on ketones. Now going back to glycogen, I was just storing all the carbohydrates as body fat. So when I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing like, oh man, like I'm not looking as lean, I'm not looking as diced as I normally am, it becomes hard because then you start realizing and thinking, right, almost like brainwashing yourself, like, oh, I'm gaining the body fat because of those carbs now. And once again, that is an unhealthy relationship with food. Now, I'm sure there's once again, a transition period between going right back to glycogen stores for energy compared to ketones, just like how when you're first going on a low carb diet, I mentioned about that keto flu where it's like, hey, you start dealing with some withdrawals and some headaches, some symptoms because your body's transitioning from glycogen to ketones. I'm sure there's a transition phase that goes right back. And anytime your body is out of state of homeostasis, and it's going to spike your cortisol levels. So once again, there's been multiple things that probably had a factor into all of that. But personally, right, looking at myself, seeing I'm gaining some, extra body fat that I don't like, it had a really big effect on me where I thought, honestly, okay, hey, I'm screwed. What did I do to myself? I can never have a piece of cheesecake again. I can never have a slice of pizza again. I got to stick with making all this high fat foods. What did I do? And it was very, very difficult. And it actually took a process of me having to slowly increase my carbohydrates. We're talking 20 carbs for 1 week, 30 carbs for the next, and just slow process to eventually getting back to where it honestly took a couple months where I was back into a swing of things mentally, right? And had a better relationship with food, better relationship with carbohydrates, and got back to my flexibility when it comes to dieting. So why am I telling you all this? If you're somebody that, once again, is trying to just lose weight, I don't recommend a ketogenic diet. I just don't. I don't feel like it works long term. I don't feel like it is sustainable. And I most importantly feel like, hey, it hinders somebody from having a healthy relationship with food, right? I know plenty of people out there where it's just they look at carbohydrates, they look at a donut. If somebody eats that donut, God forbid, they're going to hell, right? They're getting punished forever. And then they start judging that person based on what they're eating. And it's what? The keto culture became this keto cult where your whole life changes. All of a sudden, everything's avocados and coconut oil, right? And ghee and grass-fed butter because your whole reality changes to keto and you're a keto fanatic. But here's the thing, right? And this is something that I love talking about, especially when it comes to the mindset with everything. When somebody does a ketogenic diet, okay, they're losing a lot of water weight at first, a lot of glycogen. And I'm not saying this to upset you. If, let's say, you did have success going on a ketogenic diet, I'm just letting you know the truth here. So don't shoot the messenger, okay? But when people start doing keto, start cutting out the carbohydrates, they lose a lot of glycogen, aka water weight at first. So they see the number on the scale go down, right? They get very, very happy because they haven't lost weight in months or maybe years. They're like a kid in a candy store, right? and they want to tell everybody and their mother, oh my gosh, I did keto. I lost 20 pounds in 2 days. Like, you should do it too. You should do it too. Anytime somebody's on Facebook making a post like, hey, what diet, you got instantly, right, your keto cults all up in those comment sections saying, hey, right, I lost all X amount of weight. I lost easiest thing, cut out carbs, keto, right? It's crazy. But let me just ask you a question. Don't shoot the messenger. What happens if, let's say, you're talking on your cell phone or you're texting, right, not paying attention, and you're walking next to a pool and you trip, right? Or somebody pushes you by accident. And that phone gets tossed up in the air and falls right into that body of water. What do you do? Well, if you go to Google, go to ChatGPT, or just ask anybody, they'll say take your phone and put it into a bowl of rice. What is that rice going to do, right? After your phone has been sitting in there for a few hours, what's going to eventually happen, right? That rice is going to absorb the water out of the phone. And it's going to start, fingers crossed, right, working properly again, okay? What do you think is going to happen if, let's say, that rice we don't consume? If, once again, you're putting a thing, right, a phone that has water in it, and you're trying to extract the water out of that phone, and you're doing so by putting it into a bowl of rice, is rice magical? No, it's not. It's just that's what carbohydrates do. They absorb things, okay? They absorb things. So if you're not consuming foods that absorb things, right, it's going to make it a lot easier to lose weight because you're not holding on to anything, aka glycogen, water. Hopefully this makes sense. So once again, like if you're not eating the breads, the pastas, the rice, yeah, you're going to start losing some weight. It's not because you're on a magical diet. It's just because that macronutrient literally stores water. So you just stop, having the glycogen stored within your body. That's it. Plain and simple. And if you're somebody that tracks your body fat percentage, not just the number on the scale, you're going to know this firsthand. I'm once again not saying this to upset you. If let's say you're a keto fanatic and you love keto, and hats off to you, right? But odds are you probably aren't watching this video. If you are, my apologies. Hopefully you like my content. Give this video a like, if you don't mind. Anyways, what I am saying is, if you're somebody that is looking to just create better habits for yourself, sustainable habits for yourself, right? Something that works best for your body type, but also your lifestyle, where you can have flexibility, I highly recommend just focusing on just tracking your macros, like learning what works best for your body type. Having the proper knowledge is one thing, right? But applying that knowledge is another thing. So you can download an app, you can start tracking, right? It's not that hard. It's not that complicated, okay? There's a phrase out there that I personally love. You can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, aka like give somebody a diet to do or a cookie cutter workout program, or you can teach somebody how to fish and feed him for the rest of his life. And that's what we do inside of our coaching program. And once again, if you want to learn more information about that, you can click on the link down below, check out our free training guide. But that's why this YouTube channel exists, is because I want to make sure that I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm educating you guys as the viewers. I'm like, okay, hey, it's possible to, just focus on eating more protein. It's possible to apply what Joe says is the 80-20 principle, where, hey, 80% of the time you're having your healthy, wholesome foods. 20% of the time you're having your sanity foods like your cheesecake, your pizza, your chicken wings, the burgers, the bourbon, the beer, right? Whatever it is, right? Whatever your sanity foods are for you. Mine are donuts, right? So it's possible that, hey, you can still learn how to live a healthy lifestyle, and not have to be so strict with your workout routine and your, diet at hand. Just all about learning, once again, how to create sustainable habits. So I really hope that you guys got a lot of value from today's episode. If you did, hey, once again, give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your biggest takeaway. And who knows, maybe you tried a ketogenic diet before in the past. Maybe you got good results. Maybe you didn't. Who knows? Leave a comment down below letting me know. And if you're somebody that is, once again, brand new here, I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube channel. You'll find way more content just like this on how to improve your life, how to, have more energy, have more confidence, have a sharper, stronger mindset, right? Have more motivation, and just learn, once again, how to just create better habits for yourself and learn how to live just a better, healthier lifestyle. That way you can be more of an inspiration for maybe your family members, coworkers, loved ones. That's what this channel is all about. So if you guys like that type of content, make sure to press that, notification bell as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. And with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.